From MZ Studios in Dallas, Texas, you're listening to the Tennis Revolution podcast.
A day late and $1 short. Lots of dollars short, actually. We are recording on Monday. Oh, you heard me. I said we. And I'm not French.
Here I am.
Oh, my goodness gracious. I have been worried sick about you. Where in the hell have you been?
I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
All of those sound better than what I've been doing.
I've been telling everybody you were on a secret mission for the CIA.
Go ahead.
No, that's all. I can't make up anything else other than that.
The tens of fans have been emailing and sending me letters. I had to come back. I couldn't stay away any longer.
I haven't seen today's numbers, but invariably they're going to go down. We've been a meteoric.
Can you go down from zero?
Meteoric rise since you've been gone. Probably the best numbers were my 8-minute podcast, which is probably
the most listeners per minute of any podcast.
A record. You know, I've got to assume that was the best week. I
have been buried in research for weeks, just preparing for this French Open episode. That's the only reason I was gone. That's how important this is.
I got it. In the bunker. Getting ready for the podcast of a lifetime.
Right. Not to build up anyone's expectations, because you're surely going to be heartbroken. No pun intended.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
No, that one doesn't.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Oh, there you go.
Almost. I still don't know how to edit and make things louder.
We don't have that problem normally.
Some of them will blow your ears out, and then some of them you can't hear. But yes, I have my soundboard. I have no idea why I haven't had it for the past 3 weeks without you.
Yeah, because surely I'm not the one running it, so don't associate the two things.
Oh, my goodness. So, anyway, the first question I asked you was...
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed?
I don't know what you were doing, but we made it through, and... I don't know if we're glad to have you back.
We'll find out after today.
You're just back, I guess.
I am. Sorry to leave all the fans wondering about me.
The upside is we didn't have to hear. No, the upside is you had to watch a lot of tennis, I'm assuming.
I did, yes.
All right, let's start back a month ago and see what your thoughts were on
the semifinal of Monte Carlo.
Well, the last time you were here was when? Indian Wells?
It feels like it. I think we had just started the clay court season last time I was here. And we thought Nadal was going to just kill everybody en route to the French.
No, he did not.
What I thought, I was the most excited I've been in a long time going into the French. And then I saw the draw, and I was like, well, no, that's not as exciting as I hoped. For the first week, maybe for the second week, it'll pick up.
What's wrong with the draw?
Well, first of all, I thought Zverev was going to be the fourth seed, so that was going to screw somebody over. And he ended up falling out of the top four at the week before the French. So that actually was good, but it made the quarterfinal less interesting. And then...
I'm sorry, the what?
The potential quarterfinal.
He wasn't going to make the quarterfinals anyway.
Well, no, but team could have had to play Nadal, Djokovic, or Federer in the quarters. So that was interesting.
Benoit Paire.
The champion of last week. And then Nadal playing 2 qualifiers to start with, and I was like, oh, well, how exciting. So it just kind of...
And they're going to show it.
They showed every minute.
100% of the match.
Every minute of his and Djokovic's match today. They did not stray.
Yeah, 2, 1, and 3 for Nadal. And we had to see every second of it.
You know, they literally showed 4 matches today. They showed a few minutes of others.
If you're big time like me and have Tennis Plus, you can watch... a lot of different
matches. That's honestly, they're making the coverage bad, so you have to buy Tennis Plus. I think that's their strategy. Like, they won't be happy with watching this. They're going to have to buy the other coverage.
Now, that's a problem. I mean, that's not good.
It literally seemed like, they're showing, and they do that with Nadal always. I get Nadal, French, whatever he is, it's his tournament. But then Djokovic, once you win the first 2 sets, to me that third set is completely irrelevant. Unless the other person wins it, then it's relevant. But I bet the percentages are very low of that happening, especially with a top 5 player.
So what I've been saying since, and by the way, I have Tennis Plus again on accident because I don't know how to turn things off when I sign up for them. So I'll have Tennis Plus for the next 75
That's
years.
right. It's withdrawing from his account for years and years.
I mean, it's not good. I just get a notice and I'm like, oh, I guess I still have that. Yeah, if they were intentionally making, but that's not true because they show Nadal and Djokovic winning 0-0 no matter what.
They just, and maybe they're right. Maybe they have the numbers that we don't, but maybe people just want to watch the stars play, and that's it. Doesn't matter who they're playing against.
And then suckers like us who are actual fans will go ahead and pay. I don't even know how much. I don't.
But yeah, they showed Caroline Wozniacki, which ended up being a good match, but the first set was 6-0 in about 20 minutes.
Right.
And then they showed Nadal, Djokovic, and then they did finally, to their credit, switch over to Thiem, who was shockingly getting a battle.
Shockingly?
Well, he lost. Yeah, that he was about to lose. He was about to go down 2-1. Yeah, I don't know.
Not shocking.
I know,
if you ask me.
But and then Serena's match obviously went to 3, so that was interesting, and the fact that she hadn't played in a while. And
yeah, I wasn't as bothered by that match if it would have been a blowout, just to see where she's at,
right?
Because we've had nothing for a while.
Yeah, there was some intrigue involved there. There's no intrigue in a Nadal or Djokovic first round match because they hadn't lost first round of a slam in the last 10 years, probably.
How about getting your time machine and watch this match for a blast from the past? Karlovic and Feliciano Lopez.
I saw that. That was one of the few first round matches where I'm like, oh, I've actually heard of these two players. It was, and I don't know who won. Did I play today?
No.
Oh, so it's tomorrow. But yeah, 2 Serbian volleyers in a clay court.
Love it.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, the women's draw is total chaos, as we kind of thought it would be.
Well, yeah. If you're outside the top 10, maybe top 10,
yeah,
I don't think there's a problem with you getting beat. And I don't think it's some big upset, unless you're playing a qualifier.
Right.
But
well, and I would agree with you because those people lose all year.
well, that too. And again, I guess I'm anti-man because I call that depth, and I call it a good thing, although I don't do that on the men's side. I don't know why.
Well, because the women that beat the top 10 women sometimes actually go on to do something in that tournament, whereas the men who do it, they lose the next round to whoever.
True.
But I was going to ask you, what do you think do you think there's any reason for all these withdrawals, or you think it's just coincidence? Because it seems like there's way more withdrawals this slam than there's been in one in a while.
Yeah, I think people are just sick of the French.
People or the surface?
No, the people. The French people.
Right. Well, none of them are there. That every year that depresses me how empty that stadium is.
It's because when it opens on Sunday, what are they doing on Sunday?
And what's funny is they're trying to explain to us how every tournament should start on Sunday, and I'm like, that's not a good endorsement when the crowd's empty. Like it doesn't. They said they make more money by opening on Sunday, but it's never full.
Right.
So I don't know how they're making that much more money. I mean, of course, every day you're open, you're going to make more money, obviously.
You would think, but I don't like it either. But again, it's 2 weeks of tennis.
Right.
And so when you look at the final numbers, they're always staggering.
And maybe those seats are sold. They're just the people are roving the grounds, or the people are in other courts, or they haven't come yet, or whatever. I think they just maybe come for a couple hours and leave.
Yeah, walking around smoking cigarettes or whatever French people do. I don't know.
Taking naps.
If you're French, call in. Tell me what you do. I don't know.
But yeah, it's been kind of that's always kind of weird. It's like, oh, I guess I don't need to care about this match because no one else does. Because nobody's there. Like Wozniacki match couldn't have had more than 300 people when it started.
Yeah, and that's somebody who people know. I mean, she's a draw for sure.
Right.
Typically, she's a draw for sure.
And they don't really have anybody to get excited about French. I mean, Felix, even though he's Canadian, he's French descent, he would have been one to be excited about, and then he would end up withdrawing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have anybody they're that excited about going in. Monfils kind of disappeared the last few weeks. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
Well, so the men's draw is going to hold, which is what we say every year, and the women's draw is not,
right,
which we say every year. And again, we're cheating a little bit because we're starting 2 days in, because
right,
we've already seen. We're recording Monday evening, and so 2 days have already been played. So we should have acted like we recorded Saturday, like geniuses.
And we predict all these upsets.
Well, here's one thing that helps on the men's side. Stan the Man is back.
Yeah,
That's a big deal, I think.
Oh, I think it's just having him in the mix is interesting. If he's in the second week, it's really interesting because he's one of those people that always seems to get better every round, which is a rare, attribute.
Right, these days.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you can just see sort of the difference in how, and again, it could just be me. I could be wrong, but in how I perceive the depth of the men's draw, even though we got some OGs. I mean, Songa won around.
Right.
I feel good about that. I feel good about Gasquet winning around.
Yeah.
You know my love affair with Gasquet.
And he won pretty easily.
And Wawrinka again, and obviously I think out of any of those sort of people that are kind of coming back, I mean, Wawrinka to me has the best shot.
Right. When I was looking at I always like to look at the Vegas odds for these tournaments, and a lot of part of it is name recognition, obviously, but I think Wawrinka was like 7th or 8th out of all the players, which is pretty crazy considering he's not even seeded.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And Federer was 5th, which is probably the lowest he's been ever in a slam in the last, 10 years, I would think. He was 17-1, which I thought, when's the last time you get 17-1 odds Federer to win a slam?
That's pretty impressive. Put some money on that.
But he would have Nadal and then Djokovic if the seeds hold semis and finals back to back.
Well, those seeds will hold.
Yeah, right.
The rest of them won't.
He looked good, but it's just so hard to tell the way he plays. It's so different than everybody else is playing on clay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I see a lot of guys not playing quote-unquote clay court tennis.
Yeah.
It's been mentioned by you, actually, but also other places I've heard it, that the era of the dirt baller is really at an end.
Right.
I mean, even Nadal can't be considered, he's won a ton of these, but he's won others too. You know what I mean? He's won other surfaces, Masters as well.
When people thought maybe Cecchinato was that guy, he made the semis last year and then he goes out first round.
Yeah, of course, because people lose their minds. See, I'll tell you, that's, to me, I just spent the last week and 2 weeks before that, immersed in the college national tournament, both our division as well as Division I.
Right.
And what a difference in atmosphere. These dumb individual tournaments, it seems like nothing matters at all prior to the French, even on clay.
Right.
Qualifying doesn't even matter at the French Open. I'm kidding there, because obviously those people have to qualify. They're not highly ranked.
Right.
And it's just such a different feel. I don't know what the world numbers are. I mean, a small indication, looking at the stands over the weekend. But I don't know. I think there need to be some changes in tennis.
Well, in the first year ever, I feel like we had about 10 or 12 different champions leading up to the French, which again was why I was so excited going into the French. But then I realized, they were champions because they didn't play each other, and one guy skipped this week, one guy skipped this week. Being a 250 champion doesn't really say that much because you're playing against other people,
right?
In the 30s, 40s. But it's just, it's weird how one surface of clay doesn't even seem to translate to the other surfaces. Well,
and here's again, I've talked about the whole team aspect before, and the main difference between these individual tournaments, which is what the tours are,
right,
versus team, is there's staying power with the teams. The teams never go away, except in World Team Tennis. But, the teams stay and the players come and go. So,
right,
like for the Steelers, when Roethlisberger retires, I mean, it'll be bad because we'll suck.
Right.
But I'll still be a fan of this. I'm not a fan of his. And
Yeah.
if he went, if he left to go to Detroit, I wouldn't all of a sudden follow him into Detroit.
Right. And you'll be a fan of the next quarterback, regardless of who it is.
Exactly. Well, unless he's awful.
Well, I mean, to start with.
Yeah, and then I'll be tweeting death threats at, But, no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I think that just the tediousness of the way the tour is set up in this day and age, I don't know. I don't know.
I think the only thing, the way the tournament is set up, the only thing you get excited about is individual matchups, and that's a really, shaky thing to lean on for your popularity. If you don't get two players that are interesting playing each other, what you don't have a tournament that people care about.
And on the men's side, that's impossible.
Right.
Because there's only 3 players that are worth interest.
Yeah, and they oftentimes don't play the same tournaments.
I mean, there are some players that you sort of get some level of excitement about, but they don't hold your interest because they don't hold results.
Right.
I mean, Dominic Thiem, could have dropped that third set.
Right.
And then what? I don't think he's winning that 4th set 6-2.
That would have been... I was shocked that he was even in position to lose it. And again, I know it's team, but just because it's on clay, that's why I'm shocked. If it was...
because he's a prince of clay. Come on.
For winning, 2 tournaments. Yeah, I that was... And I guess he played a junior French Open champion or whatever, but still, you're a pro player in the top 4, and you're losing to a guy who's not even top 80.
Right.
I mean, that's on your best surface. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll have like somebody who may be fun, like Monfils. And we're literally just watching for his shot making or whatever, but nobody cares if he wins or loses.
No.
But
I looked at 64 first-round matches in the men's, and I maybe saw 3 that were interesting. And I know, 100 of the 128 players. It's not like they're unknown to me because that's what, I keep up with. But that's pretty bad when you got 3. And again, not to harp on our last slam where I talked about the way to do the draw differently and make it more interesting, but I just think this is what happens when you do it this way. You get potential slams where it's like this, where it's people, unknowns playing the best players, and they have no chance. And once every 10 years, one of them is going to win, and it's amazing. But the problem is you have the other 9 years and 3 slams where it didn't happen.
Yeah. And, I guess you give them a pass on the first round because it's a giant tournament.
Yeah.
128 draw. So, obviously, there's going to be a lot of players that aren't at the upper echelon just by nature of the numbers. So, give me till the 3rd round. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But on the men's side in particular, it just... we'll see what the next round looks like. We should start doing daily podcasts like some of these other cool podcasts do, just daily.
Well, they said Nadal, now they didn't say if anybody's ever won 12 of the same tournament, but obviously no one's ever done 12 of the same slam. But if he wins this, he'll win 12 French Opens. And don't you feel like we can pencil him in the semis without even like any doubt whatsoever? And probably the finals. Well,
I keep waiting for him to fall off physically at any moment. And,
when he had that 1 year where he withdrew mid-tournament.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, why doesn't that count as a loss in his record? So I thought if he withdrew, it did count as a loss.
It should.
Against that guy. Because they always say he's 86-2. Well, he's really 3 because he dropped out that 1 year in the 3rd or 4th round against Granollers. But yeah.
I know one thing that doesn't count as a loss. When a player shows up to get half their prize money.
Right.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what they all do. I'm surprised. That's why I'm surprised so many people have dropped out before the tournament because they don't get anything, I think. Even Kyrgios, of all people.
By the way, what do you think about that? Katie Bolter just popping in to get her $20,000.
Well, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to get it like mailed to them, or I don't know what the normal protocol is.
Well, I guess you have to be on site or something and pull out.
I see. I mean, we've talked about that before. The way the tour is set up with no salaries and stuff, I'm okay with it.
I am too. I don't know why people are so up in arms about it. I mean, it's the rule.
Right.
It is the rule.
And they did that so people would not go out there and waste everybody's time by playing a game or two, which I'm sure she would have done had this rule not been the case.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's probably half her prize money for this year so far.
So the Telegraph, and I don't mean the machine that goes deet 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 deet, but the newspaper in the UK, I guess,
because she's British, right?
Oh, sure, why not? So she, Simon Briggs, who's a tennis correspondent, one of the lines in this thing is Katie Bolter's. This is how it opens. Katie Bolter's visit to Roland Garros ended in a sharp getaway on Friday. As the
she's a criminal.
Yeah, as the British number 2 declined the opportunity to answer questions about her controversial 20,323 pound pay packet.
And why is that controversial?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, and I mean, if she came in on a wheelchair on crutches or something, that might be, a little bit different. Because then she knew she couldn't play for weeks, and she just shows up for that. But
well, again, my argument is it's in the rules. What's controversial about following the rules? If the rule's controversial, have a discussion about that,
right? Or
change it.
And that's still not her problem. It's still not anything to do with her. If it's a bad rule, then
yeah.
What's that got to do with her?
I don't know.
Well, and it's still beneficial to whoever took her place because they were getting no money because they were out of the tournament,
right?
And now they're getting at least $20,000, or if they win, they're getting more, obviously,
right?
So I mean, that's why the rule's there. Everybody was in favor of the rule compared to what it was before.
Yeah.
But nobody gave Kyrgios any credit for dropping out early and not getting his $20,000. He doesn't need any more criticism, I guess.
So, did you listen to that podcast, the interview that I sent you?
Speaking of controversy, I'm going to make a controversial statement. I loved all of it. I agreed with almost everything he said in that podcast,
including you think that they are on drugs.
Well, he didn't. He insinuated a little bit on that, but
by the way, you have sort of said that before. You actually,
I have. And no, what the things that he said that were controversial. Well, I love that he criticized Djokovic's celebration because you've done that.
Yeah, I agreed with that. I agreed with that wholeheartedly.
I did too. And then,
except I'm not going to ever be able to do it if I beat him.
Right. And then, oh my God, I was envisioning that, and I'm like, that would be
the greatest thing.
And that's why I was really mad that he dropped out of this tournament because I'm like, I would have loved to see him and Djokovic. Which the problem is he wouldn't have beaten Djokovic. He will never beat Djokovic again after that interview.
Well, that's probably true.
But no, I agreed with what he said about Nadal. I agreed with what he said about Djokovic. He didn't really say anything bad about Federer. What he said is what I've said all along, is that people in tennis are too nice to each other. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're playing against someone, and all we hear about is how great you think they are and how much you love them.
Right.
Like, I have a big problem with that. I mean, imagine if a boxing match did that in promotion for the weeks leading up. Oh, he's the best ever. Oh, no, he's the best ever. Like, no one's...
Or at the weigh-in, hey,
they're hugging.
Down to 145. You're looking good. You've been cutting carbs? Yeah.
Right.
You got a new recipe. You want me to text you?
Let's work out together tomorrow before the fight. No, yeah, let's hit. That's what I mean. So I agreed with what he was saying about all that. Obviously, his antics on the court, I don't agree with, but I'm just talking about the stuff he said.
Well, I'll tell you, I think one of the things that makes the difference between the big four and then actually going on down the line as you go lower and lower, I've always said that physically it's not a huge difference. It's everything upstairs, mentally in terms of strategy, and then psychological in terms of emotional control, etc. No one stays focused as much as the big three do.
Yeah.
For the extended period of a match. And maybe if they hated him a little more, you know what I mean?
Right,
maybe
you have something to focus on.
Yeah, I mean...
When he admitted that, too, he said, yeah, I don't work as hard as I should. And, I think at some point he said, I wish I did, or I wish I had that drive to do it, but I don't.
So you're advocating hate.
All that hate's going to burn you up, kid.
Keeps me warm.
Was that an Outsiders?
No.
What was that from?
That was Red Dawn. We've had this
that's
discussion.
right. There you go. Well, same actors. Some of the same actors.
One of the same actors.
The late, great.
Powers Booth was not in Outsiders.
No, Patrick Swayze. Wasn't he in both of those?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Not in that clip.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. I think it was dumb on his part to get that candid and but that's kind of his thing already.
But is it? Why? What? It's just like him being on the tour. Until somebody can beat him or he loses enough to not be able to make it, then who cares?
Well, and I loved what he said about why are you walking on the court with Nadal and acting like he's God and you have to give him all. It's like, yeah, how about you're playing him in tennis? After the match, you can tell him, how great he was. And I also liked what he said about, if Nadal beats me, we don't ever have any issues. But if I beat him, all of a sudden there's a big conflict. But my favorite line, and Djokovic cannot give a response to this. He said, "How can he be the greatest of all time when he can't beat me?" And I loved that because this is no defense for that. I love that. Now, like I said, I don't think he'll ever beat Djokovic again after that. But he rubs people the wrong way, and it affects their game, obviously. And he's also just got the serve that he can just, if it's on, he can hold serve against anyone at any time,
right,
on any surface. So it's just
it was just adorable that directly following that interview being published, he throws a chair on the court.
I know,
and gets
literally the next day.
Yeah, game set match or point game match.
Well, and then to withdraw for illness 2 days before the tournament starts, I found really odd. Because unless you're just, and I can relate to this, but unless you're just deathly ill, 2 days, you don't know what you're going to feel like in 2 days. So why are you withdrawing 2 days before? I mean, you can recover from 95% of illnesses in 2 days, at least to a degree where you can play.
So you're dubious of his.
I think he didn't want to. I mean, he talked about it even in the interview. He said, Clay's not my favorite. I think whatever he said, but I think he didn't want to play to begin with, so I think that was just maybe a reason.
So he just didn't. So you don't think he just didn't want to play?
I think he just didn't want to play, and maybe he was feeling bad.
Pretty sure. I agree with you.
I think he didn't. He may have not felt well. I believe that, but those two factors combined, he's like, I don't feel well. I hate this tournament anyway. Let's just go on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But the draw he had was interesting. I can't remember now who it was, but when the draw came out, I was actually interested. I think he might have been playing Fonini, or he had 2 easy rounds, and then he played a seed. But I think I want to say maybe it was Fonini or somebody, and I was like, that would have been a barn burner.
Yeah.
But I don't root for him, but he definitely catches my interest for sure.
Yeah. Well, I made this comment last week, and I think I don't know if I've made it on the pod with you or just to you in the past, but tennis doesn't need him.
No.
And he might not need tennis, and that's fine.
Right.
But my assistant coach, actually, the guy that was on here that did the research paper on D3 tennis or something, he phrased it like, we can tell the story of tennis without Nick Kyrgios,
right? And
we won't be missing anything.
No, but I would say he is the extreme example of what we need. Like, we need people more in his direction,
in your face,
but not that far. Like, that's the problem. He's gone too far in that direction, so he's not getting any advocates, because he's going too far. And of course, like you said, well timed by the fact that he's throwing a chair on the court and doing all that,
right?
Because anybody who listens to him after that happened is going to say, like, you're ridiculous. He just did this.
Yeah.
But no, I think we need more people to say, I don't think he's that good. No, I can't wait to play him again because I think I'm going to beat him.
Did you see that match live? Were you watching it?
I didn't, actually. And I never saw it recorded either.
Well, I was watching it, but then I also saw it later, highlights. And it's hard to tell exactly when each thing happened. But, I mean, he was in control of himself and whatever else.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And it just went, I think, maybe an obscenity to the crowd, and then maybe a racket smash, and then the chair was the final thing, possibly.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, it goes point, game, match. So the first point penalty is a point penalty.
But is the warning not in there anymore?
Yeah, they have a warning.
Okay.
But I'm sure, the
warning is sometimes just sort of randomly given out.
But, yeah, so.
Well, and I think that I saw the match before when he beat, Medvedev, who was like 12 or 13 ranked, and he played so well and clearly rattled that guy. I watched that match, and he was just rattled the entire time by his. Well, he started the match with an underhand serve,
right,
and just different stuff from there between the legs and all that stuff. But it's just funny that the next day it just completely turned. And who knows? Maybe he got some backlash from that interview, and he was not in a good place going into that match.
Yeah. Well, you want to talk some actual tennis?
No, I guess.
I know. I hate to do that on a tennis podcast. Well, let's get a little more into the draw. Probably mainly the women's. When we
the
come
one that's
back.
interesting.
Or when we come back. It's been a while. I know. We'll be right back.
It's time to join the revolution. Go to our website, tennisrevolutionpodcast.com. To get the latest episodes, email us your questions and comments, or give us show ideas.
All right. So, is there a women's tournament too? Do they do the men's and the women's at the same place?
I guess the Tennis Channel has been doing a good job of showing men's and women's pretty equally.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, what we always say about the men is I don't see in the early rounds any outstanding matches about players I care about. Now, you might have some barn burners.
Right.
But, I mean, maybe...
Yeah, there's no match you look at and just think, wow, I've been wanting to see these two guys play for a while, or they're former top tens or whatever.
Or anybody cares at all. I hope Zverev loses the first
I've
time.
predicted him to lose, but now this is going to come out after this prediction, but I don't care.
Man, I hope he loses.
And I like the guy he's playing too, so that's the other reason I'm rooting for him to lose.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And I don't think it affects the tournament at all because he is a pure media creation.
Yeah. Well, and
he's four in the world, or was, for nothing.
Before the tournament he just won, he was 8-6 on the year. And explain to me how you can be four in the world when you're 8-6.
I can't.
I don't understand.
I can't.
And I know he's won a couple tournaments, but so has 20 other guys. So I don't get that. And especially when the slams are supposed to count the most, and that's when he does the least.
Yeah.
But
so anywho, I mean, outside of the Americans, which I have zero hope for on the men's side, I mean,
I asked a friend who was going to go the farthest, and he said Tiafoe.
Well,
and he's already out.
He might.
They've got to have. There's not an American that's won yet.
Oh my God, I hope not.
There's got to be. Although they would have shown it because they always do. Obviously, there's been women that have won.
This is me checking.
I know that Opelka lost.
Didn't we adopt Canada as part of our...
Well, he lost too, didn't he? Or did he come back?
I don't know.
Shapovalov lost too, I think. And Felix didn't play.
Yeah, poor Felix.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. You made the semifinals last week, and then
but he pulled a groin. He pulled a groin in the final.
Oh, did he?
And he said, I didn't want to take away his win.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, because Benoit Paire,
that's amazing. I didn't know that.
What a hero. Nope.
Query dropped out. Isner didn't play. McDonald's got to be in there somewhere.
So we got McDonald playing Nishioka.
So he hadn't played yet.
Nope. And we've got, this is depressing.
This could literally be the first slam, I don't know, and how maybe ever, where an American doesn't make the second round. I don't think that's ever happened. Usually you get two Americans play each other.
Steve
Johnson's in there somewhere.
Has Bautista Agut, so he's finished.
He's not winning that.
I'm sorry to tell you, this is not, the hard true of Houston, sir.
No, Ryan Harrison.
Taylor Fritz is playing Bernie Tomic. There you go. There's our chance. There's our chance. Two big dumb idiots. And I don't mean that because they're dumb.
Yeah.
Tennis Sandgren out.
Yeah.
Yep. Shapo lost to Struff. In straight sets, by the way.
I know,
Great job. Great job, Next Gen.
And he's one of the ones that we actually have had some hope for, or thought we did.
Yeah. That's our chance. We got Stevie Johnson. There's no chance he's beating Bautista Agut, is it?
No, not on clay, I don't think.
I can't imagine.
Even though Bautista's more of a hard court player too, but
still.
Gosh, that's
depressing. You can say it.
I had picked Isner to be the farthest, and then he dropped out.
So McDonald, Nishioka.
That's winnable.
Yeah.
But gosh, that's great. So we don't have a seeded player.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And if they did it based on clay, that would mean one thing, but they don't. They do it based on straight on ranking. Or Tiafoe might have been seeded. He was probably seeded 28 or 25 or something.
I thought they said this is the first time that we have not had an American seeded in the tournament.
That's terrible.
In a Grand Slam in ever.
Our podcast is really working on building up American tennis.
Well, we're not coaching them. All right. We didn't. I'm not falling on that sword.
But yeah, even one of my friends who's actually Canadian, she texted me and she said, how do we have all these players coming from Canada doing so well and America has none? And she wasn't being rude. She was being a serious question. She's like, how are we doing it and you guys can't? And I said, I have no idea.
I just don't know.
I said, you guys literally don't have 6 months a year to play tennis.
Nope. You know what? You're right. Tiafoe was 32.
Wow. And so that's because Kyrgios dropped out.
Just under the wire.
Maybe when you first saw that stat, he wouldn't have been seeded. That might have been an adjusting.
Kyrgios should have just played just to stick it to America. Wow. Although he likes Tiafoe, apparently.
Yeah.
Big fans.
That was interesting, too. And he likes Tsitsipas, but he's afraid to talk to him because he's a girl, apparently. He was like, I can't approach him in the locker room. He's, that was so weird. He's not approachable.
Goodness. Here's what's funny. We forget that these kids are sheltered, entitled brats.
Oh, yeah.
Who have been doing one thing their entire life.
Well, I thought he was more of the normal, just personality-wise, not
he is
obviously
not.
On the court. But yeah, when he said I can't talk to him, the interviewer was like, "What do you mean you can't talk to him?" He's like, "Oh yeah, he's just wearing headphones." I'm like, "What guy in the locker room isn't wearing headphones?"
Yeah, exactly. All right, so tennis. You heard of it?
Sangren.
Yep. Anything on the men's? Is there anything different than what we think is going to happen? So semifinals, without question, Joker at the top, Nadal at the bottom.
I think
Fed going to be the third?
I think the other two are kind of up for grabs.
Ooh, Fognini. How about Fognini?
You got him. You got Tsitsipas.
And the Princess of Clay, Dominic Thiem.
I would have said Thiem was the third almost guaranteed, but after today, that's hard to commit to that. I think we're going to have a surprise like we did last year with Cecchinato. There's going to be some surprise semifinalist.
That's not one of these old-timers like Monfils or somebody.
Yeah. Maybe just a random, because that's kind of been the trend the last couple of years. There's been a lot of random, we had Sangren made a semifinal, we had Chung made a semifinal, and that was their one and done. Cecchinato.
All right, I thought Tsitsipas looked great.
He did.
And he's playing an all-court game on clay as well.
Yeah.
Which I don't care. I think
that's
great.
a positive.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem with Thiem. I think the reason Thiem, I lose faith in him, is he's grinding himself down in the first round. If he's going to play that way for 5 rounds before he gets to Nadal or Djokovic, I think he plays Djokovic in semis. He's not going to have enough left because those guys are winning quickly.
Well, clearly it's Joker for the win to keep my slam predictions alive. Vegas, I don't know what Vegas has, but I'm assuming they have Nadal first and Djokovic second.
I think Nadal is 5-2, and then 2.5 to 1, and then Djokovic was 4 or 5 to 1. So I was actually surprised how much.
I knew what any of that meant.
Because you don't gamble, you're an NCAA coach.
Yeah, I can gamble on horse racing.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually thought
not an NCAA sport.
There you go. I was actually surprised that he was ranked or favored that much more than Djokovic. Basically saying he's twice as likely to win as Djokovic is, which I thought was surprising. Because I see them as pretty even at this point.
So let's see. Any Americans? John Isner. I guess
you can still bet on him?
An old line, yeah.
Well, they had Andy Murray on one of the ones I looked at. And I was like, he was never signed up.
Even right now, Isner has the best chance to win the French Open out of any American. Makes me sick.
Yeah, you have a better chance betting on him. Well, and the thing is, there was an option to bet on the field, and I'm like, well, the field versus who? Does that mean the field? No,
he's got to play everyone.
Yeah, the field, the 10 people listed above the field, or?
No. There's a square of grass out there, and that has a better chance to win than an American. An American or the field. Oh, I'll take that patch of grass.
Right.
I can't help it.
at least I don't know that we have any women that can win the tournament, but we have some women at least involved.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Venus because I actually thought she was playing pretty well. She just, is 15 years older than the girl she played.
We done with the men?
I'm done. I was done when I saw the draw. I was like, let's wait till week 2 when it actually gets interesting.
Agreed. All right, because, boring. I can't talk about players in the 60s.
Right.
Not their age. Although Federer's going to play till he's 60, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, so on the women's side, so Venus got bounced, which is a bummer, but when you look at the breadth of women's players we have, at least we got a shot.
Right.
At least we got a shot. And I'm sure the USTA will take full credit for all of the American women that are doing well, but don't know anything about the men's problems. So we got Sloane, 2 tight sets, but she got through, and, she says she plays the best when she's happy, and she's all engaged and whatnot, so...
Oh, there you go.
Hopefully she's right about herself. I think she's more of a favorite than Serena.
I was going to say, what do you think of Serena's match?
I don't know. I think that going down so quickly, her opponent did not have time to think about it.
Yeah.
And then she started thinking about it, and then it got away from her.
When it's always so hard to pick against her, no matter who she's playing.
No matter when she's played last.
Right.
That's the only reason I say that, I think Sloane has, out of the Americans, I think Sloane has a better chance in my mind, but that's only because I have zero data on Serena, except for that 3-set,
right.
Which the first set looked awful, but you have to expect that. I don't care how experienced and how great you are, you're still competing with players at the highest level on paper.
When the old Serena...
Oh, she's old.
They would always talk about how she got better as the tournament goes on. That's not her anymore, in my opinion. Now, she'll probably be better next round than she was the first round.
Well, I think she's more dialed in from the neck up.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be physically better.
No, she starts wearing down by the time it gets to this quarter, and she's playing better people at that point.
Right.
That's the problem.
Now, let's see if my Madison Keys theory holds up on clay. How, somebody that hits big, a ball that sits up nice for you on clay gives her a better chance to make more of those shots.
Yeah.
I've been preaching that theory, and I just don't know if it's working. But then again, I don't know if that's the reason. I don't think that's the reason why Keys can't get her life together.
Well, and she did have, I think, one good tournament in the lead up
in her career.
But, it's been so. I mean, nobody's even trying to predict a winner for the women's. It's like they're just expecting anything to happen.
Well, you've got Osaka as the one, of course,
with a terrible draw.
And the second round, she's got Ostapenko or Azarenka. Now, again, Azarenka's like a 10 times, worse version than Serena in terms of she just hasn't played. Right. So you just have no clue. It's hard when you've been playing day in, day out, week in, week out, tournament in, tournament out, and you're just dialed in almost all the time.
I can't picture Azarenka winning both of those. I could see her beating Ostapenko, but it seemed to be hard for her to string those two together. Because that Ostapenko match is going to be a battle.
All I can do is picture that because I turn the sound down because I cannot stand it.
That's the one thing that she's kept in her game.
And if that's sexist, it's sexist because I promise you if a male player grunted that high of a pitch, it hurts my ears. I don't care.
Right. I don't think it's sexist to say it hurts your ears because you can't control that.
My ears are sexist. My ears are anti-woman. Hear me roar.
But that was by far the most interesting little section.
Well, it's interesting to me because Azarenka was a link to the previous generation where, obviously Serena was still the queen, but she pushed her. Right. She was definitely a rival for her. And it's probably just nostalgia, wanting her to get back. But she's, she's got a tough situation where she can only play limited schedule or whatever because of her custody battle and all that. Or I don't know anything about it. I'm not a reporter.
I just know that she's not able to play as much as she used to. Ostapenko's fallen from where she was too, so it could be deceiving when one of them wins. We're going to think, oh, they're going to challenge, Osaka, and then maybe she just rolls them.
Yeah.
But she's not looking that great either.
Or Osaka loses in the first round.
Right.
I mean, that's possible.
Doesn't even play them.
Yeah. So we've got...
By the way, one thing, do you care at all when they go into the tournament saying we have 4 ladies that can be number 1 in the world at the end of this tournament?
No.
Every tournament they hype that. I don't either. I don't think anybody cares. I mean, those players care, obviously, but there's not like a coronation when it happens, or they don't have a ceremony. So all people care about is who's going to win the tournament. They don't care who's going to be number 1 at the end of the tournament, especially if you didn't win. If you won it and became number 1, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you lose in the quarters and you become number 1.
Number 1 is a consolation prize if you don't win the tournament. It really, you're number 1, but as soon as you hit number 1, now you're part of that group that, the best number 1
right.
can never win a Grand Slam.
And how lame is it to say I'm number 1 in the world? Oh, really? Because you just lost your last match to so-and-so.
Right, yeah.
Like,
the only thing that helped you is the other girl that was
right.
lost a round before you.
Yeah.
So what is being number 1? I mean, ultimately...
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Oh, man, we lost a great one too early.
We did.
I almost said Gene Hackman. And then I said, wait. It's not Gene Hackman.
Have we lost him yet? I don't know.
Gene Roddenberry. No, it's Gene Simmons.
Yeah. You got a lot of Genes in your repertoire. We can't.
Well, normal radio shows that are good, like they start going back and forth.
Right.
So let's start that over.
Oh, God.
I almost said, who was the first one I said?
Gene Hackman.
I almost said Gene Hackman.
No, you mean Roddenberry?
No, you just say Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, well, it's Gene Roddenberry.
Who did I say? Who's the other one?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. The fact that you had more than 2, I was amazed.
I forgot the third one already.
Oh, Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons.
Yeah. I was impressed with 2, and then 3, you blew me out of the water. You've been studying up on your pop culture since I've been gone.
No, you got nothing?
I don't have any genes.
How about blue jeans? It can be anything.
Well, I was trying to think of a Gene like Jean, but I couldn't think of any even for that. So I'm slacking here. Gene Rivers.
What?
I'm just kidding. I know it's Joan Rivers.
Oh. I didn't know what you meant.
No, but yes, obviously the amazing Gene Wilder. Some of his movies don't quite hold up nowadays, but some are still amazing. Hold up, culturally, or in this climate we live in now.
What about the Gene that is the character in...
I thought you were going to say something genetic.
X-Men.
That's every character in X-Men.
Gene?
They're all genetically
no, they're not.
Something.
No, it's a girl that shoots like the psychic one or whatever.
I'm not a fan. No Marvel or X-Men.
All right.
I had a bunch of time to catch up on those. I'd chosen to do something else.
Gene, that is really hard to do on the spot. and in your condition.
Right.
Your delicate condition.
If only we could Google it and look up genes. No, we could.
I wasn't
we don't care
cheating.
that much.
I wasn't cheating.
No, I believe you. Gene Autry.
Oh, there we go.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
No, that's not. His name wasn't Gene. He's saying, I got you.
But, yeah, I don't know how you got to that.
Mr. Green Jeans.
Who's that?
What? That is from... Oh, man. I am cheating on that.
I was about to say, that had to be a Google.
It's a kid's show from way back.
Yeah?
Captain Kangaroo. You don't remember that show?
I know the show, but that was...
What, do you?
Well, I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. But that was a character on it?
Yeah, apparently.
Hmm.
Captain Kangaroo, my goodness.
Oh, have you all missed this?
Let's see. What? It was on for 29 seasons. Are you kidding me?
He and Mr. Rogers were both on forever.
October 3rd, 1955 to December 8th, 1984. Wow. And look at these old black and white ones. Some of those things look so creepy.
So when that ended, I was 1.
Wow.
So if I watched it, I didn't see it. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's pretty good. I'll take that. Holy hell.
But yeah, that's the extent of my gene knowledge.
Norma Jean.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, baby.
There you go. Billie Jean. So you're getting the music references.
Billie Jean King. Bringing all
there we go.
full circle.
That was where this all was planned out, believe it or not.
Which is not possible. I haven't seen you in a month. All right, back to women's tennis, unfortunately. Kidding. We like women's tennis better. So, are there enough players you care about on the women's side to overcome the chaos nature of the draw, of the women's draws, typically?
See, that's what's so funny. In the women's, there's probably 20 women I care about, but 10 of them are going to be out tomorrow. The men's, there's 5 I care about, but all 5 are still going to be in there tomorrow. That's what the part that's kind of confusing. So it makes me, as of now, I care more about the women's draw. When we get in the semis and it's 2, players I don't really care about and 2 I do, it makes it worse.
Yeah, well, I think on the American side of the ledger, if you will, at least we have something to root for.
Totally.
Multiple things to root for. Sophia Kenin is on through. She won. We've got, guess who's back? Shady's back. Shelby Rogers is back after whatever knee or
I did see her tournament
something
a few weeks ago. That was really cool. She came back and played in her hometown and won the first round, and she was crying. That was really cool to watch that.
And Danielle Collins, but she's got to play Ash Barty next, so her dream is over. But, I mean, she's somebody who can beat somebody.
Yeah.
So we've got both players we care about. And
Brady won today.
And Tom Brady, he's winning. Not even unbelievable. I hate that guy.
He wins everything.
That's pretty funny, I thought.
But yeah, no, there's interest throughout the draw in the women's, which to me is the biggest, differentiating factor.
Yeah, so DirecTV has the channel that you can go and look at multiple courts, which now I don't even care about because they still don't have as many options as Tennis Plus or Tennis Channel Plus. So
didn't Tennis Channel Plus say it has 12 courts?
I don't know. They should give us money though because I talk about them enough,
or at least give you the free.
Yeah. Yes. Discount or something.
Right.
Yeah. So Shelby Rogers is in. She won. But yeah. So as you're scrolling through the matches on the DirecTV deal, it lists all the matches going on live, and then if it's on one of the channels, it'll say 706, and you just hit it, and it'll go to that channel. So not all of them have that, but it's got all the matches listed. And you're going through the guys' draw, and you're like,
right,
Federer, Nadal, I will want to take a look at Djokovic. Just to see, because
he had the toughest of all the first round opponents too. Well, that guy's won a little bit this summer.
Well, and I'm just talking about more from the standpoint of how he looked at the end of Monte Carlo,
right?
And he's had a week to chill.
Yeah,
because I thought he lost that match purely on physical, and
definitely,
and was able to win that middle set, just purely on gut.
Right, which is actually
good. It's a good sign. So then he had a week to chill, and for his sake, he'll want to skate through unharmed as much as possible. Easy, Nadal-like matches.
Well, and one thing I saw from watching Federer that we never talk about in this greatest ever argument, he just blows over inferior opponents always.
Right.
And Nadal does that on clay, but he doesn't do that everywhere else.
Right.
Federer does it on any surface, and same with Djokovic. He doesn't always blow over guys, and neither did Murray. He would lose sets to guys all the time.
Yeah.
But Federer, I mean, it's the fact that he's 37 and he's just blowing over these guys 1, 2, and 2. Yeah, it is an indictment on the other guys, but he's been able to do that for so long. Like, I can't think of anybody who would just beat guys that way so routinely.
Right.
It's crazy to me that he can do that on any surface. Any guy between 25 to 100 in the rankings. It's just that would be an interesting stat to see number of games lost per match in the slam.
Averages for everybody, yeah.
Because it just seems like he's always there was never, and the guy who was playing was decent. He was just never in doubt the whole match. And obviously Nadal's wasn't either, but again, it's clay.
Yeah.
But every match Nadal plays at Wimbledon or hardcourt is interesting because the guys might get up a break or win a set or whatever.
Yeah, he's got such an extreme grip and those quicker courts, that ball gets on him quicker. Underhand serves. Have we seen any yet?
Is that a trend that we think is going to be happening?
Against him. A lot of people.
Oh, against him.
I mean, Team was returning all the way up against the ball. He was like back up with the line. I thought he was calling lines.
Well, they were trying to get the guy that he was playing it all to serve it out wide because he was so far back and he wasn't doing it.
He did it some, and I'm like, dude, why wouldn't you do that all the time?
Right.
He's got so much more ground to make up when he's 50 feet behind the baseline.
I guess they think their serve is so fast down the tee that it's going to be good enough to surprise them where he can't reach it or whatever, and that doesn't really work.
Sorry, women, focus. So we've got both American women that not only can win rounds, but that are a threat. And that's so much more fun.
Right.
That's so much more fun. It makes the tournament meaningful. And then we've also got, matchups and different things that are fun and exciting, like the second round matchup of Sue Shea against Petkovic. I mean, that's going to be a ball. Could be.
Right.
That could be fun.
There's a lot of
Danielle Collins
style matchups.
and Ash Barty. That could be a blast. And that's both an American, a good matchup, and Barty's interesting.
Right. Well, I think that it's funny that with Osaka being the 1 seed, I don't feel like anybody's even talking about her, and this would be her third slam in a row to win.
Right.
Which hasn't happened, I'm sure, since the Williamses. Besides them, it hasn't happened who knows how long.
Yeah.
I don't think she's in the form to win, but you never know. I think all those players get more dangerous the deeper you get in. I was really shocked by Kerber losing to that virtual unknown.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
When somebody
but like you said, it's only fun if that girl wins, hopefully another round or two.
That's part of it. But yeah, we always see those major upsets. Unbelievable.
And it's always the first 2 hours of the broadcast every year. Like the first day, the first 2 hours, some seed between 2 and 6 is out for the women.
Yeah, I mean,
and but it's just Kerber. You think of her as a defensive, really, grinder. Like for Clay, Clay's probably not her best service, but you just don't see her losing of all people in that way.
Yeah.
You can see Halep because she just does.
Inconceivable!
But you can see anybody losing that way, on the women's side,
right,
because of the depth and everything else. And, 3 sets, there's less cushion, so to speak. And once you drop a set or you let up a little, now the pressure increases tremendously. Whereas in a 5-setter, it's if you're willing to do the work and you're not, like Akira is probably not fond of losing the first set of a 3 out of 5.
Right.
But, I think that does help a little bit in that regard, that 2 out of 3 lends itself to more upsets than 3 out of 5.
Oh, yeah. I just think I think your pace of the match has to be so different if you're playing 3 out of 5.
Right. Particularly on clay.
And that's why I think it's interesting, these matches that start later in the day. It's okay, we know we're probably not going to feel like Andreescu. I drafted her, of course, and I said, well, she's probably going to lose first round, but I drafted her anyway because she hadn't played. But she ended up winning her second set, and then they stopped because of the darkness.
And Kyle Edmund, same thing. They were at 5-all in the 5th.
Wow. And so that one, he probably thought they were going to finish, but if you're starting a match at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, you have a pretty good idea you're not finishing, so then you can have a different mentality than if you know you're going to be grinding for potentially 4 to 5 hours. I think that plays into I would think that plays into the strategy a little bit of how you can play.
Yeah.
Because if Team loses that third set, they probably don't finish that match.
Right.
If he wins the fourth, obviously they wouldn't have finished. But I think that gives Tommy Paul a much bigger chance the next day to just play 1 set and have to win, than have to win a 5th set when he's not used to playing 3 out of 5 sets ever.
And if he can beat the Prince of Clay, then I guess he can win the whole thing.
They said Tiafoe is 1-6 in 5-set matches, which is always a fun stat to hear.
Yeah. All right. So on the women's side, no matter what happens, we're still going to be all right. I'm going
to be interested no matter what.
Yeah, because I don't think enough people can lose. Because there's enough matchups where you like both players,
right? Where
there's going to be players that matter and matchups that matter, and between players that can win the whole thing.
There's about 15 storylines, probably.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is you look, it's all in doubt,
right?
Whereas the men, nothing's in doubt.
No,
and even a major upset on the men's side, it doesn't matter because you know that nature will take its course eventually.
Yeah, you would have to have, for the men's to get super interesting, you would literally have to have Nadal lose in the fourth round, preferably to somebody good, like who could actually make it all the way, like a Tsitsipas or a Fonini or somebody like that.
No, if you had the top 8 seeds in the quarters,
right?
By some miracle, chalk held. No. You know what I'm saying? Then I think that would lend itself a look.
But if that happens,
it's false hope. Don't get me wrong. It's all.
I was going to say we would still think, okay, it's going to be Nadal Djokovic in the final if that happened. I think they have to go out earlier for us to get excited.
Yeah, but if they're out and now we have next and next gens,
right?
Then
we know the other guy's going to win easily.
It means less,
right?
So if we had all the seeds hold in the quarters, that means you're going to have Novak on top. You're going to have Team.
Yeah, they'd be in the semi.
Where is the bottom of the page that shows me the seeds?
Those draws are so hard to read.
These aren't good
on the website.
So you got Nadal and Team and Federer and Nishikori. I wish I was better at podcasting.
Zverev's got to be in there.
Wish I was better at podcasting.
And Tsitsipas is in there.
Tsitsipas is 6. Del Potro is 8.
I think you said everybody.
Yeah, so, and even if you had like a Fonini who's a 9 who scooted in, or, whatever, a Borna Coric who's at 13 and he slid in or whatever, or Hatchinoff at 10. So if 8 of the top 12 seeds maybe
right
were in the quarters, then you're fine.
Yeah.
Then if any of those guys make it through, the next gen or the next gen make it through, then it's like, oh, wow, okay, so the guy that was beating all those other seeds through also beat somebody good and also continue that on. Now you're like, okay, this
I see what you're saying.
Something.
Yeah, if Nadal loses to Fonini and then Fonini loses the next round and that guy goes to the semis or final, it's like, well, whatever. That's great for him, but he didn't.
Yeah, Fonini had one good match, but he couldn't keep his life together for 2. But if it's top, well, I used the 13th seed as part of it too. So
think about what happened the only year the French has been interesting, which by interesting we mean something different happened. Soderling beats Nadal, and then what happens? Federer just kills him in the final. So it was like Soderling could have made it interesting by making the final and then winning. Man, he beat Federer and Nadal in the same tournament. What's he going to do from here?
It adds, because listen, I'm not, just because I say it and everybody thinks I'm a hole for saying it, this is the weakest error. And if anybody beats the big 4 but can't back it, or big 3 or whatever, but can't back it up, and not only can they not back it up, but they look so pitiful, that, you're dumbfounded on how they could have gotten to that point.
Well, that's my thing, that if Nadal and Djokovic make the semis, there's like a 99.5% chance that one of them wins, because no person can beat both of them.
Right.
So they'd both have to lose. They'd both have to lose in the semis. Would be the only way that one of them would win, because whoever beats one of them in the semis is going to lose in the final to the other one.
Right.
That's the problem I have. If they were on the same half, like when Federer and Nadal were on the same half a few times, they had a good match and Nadal would cruise in the final.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's interesting to me. Yeah, I think Team could beat Djokovic if he gets that far, but then Nadal's going to beat him in the final because he's going to use so much energy to beat Djokovic. Nadal will beat him in the final.
I don't think any of these chumps can beat Djokovic. I don't think anybody that's not the other big 2 of the big 3 can beat Djokovic.
Well, yeah, I don't think Federer's beaten either of them on clay. I just don't see that.
But I can see that happening. I have more faith in that than anybody else beating anybody else.
He'd probably still be besides Team, just because he's beaten Djokovic at the French before, even though that was when he was kind of recovering. But yeah, Federer probably has the best chance of anyone to beat them. Maybe a Tsitsipas. I can't see Tsitsipas beating Nadal in 3 out of 5.
I still think Tsitsipas is on the come up.
He's by far the best of all of them.
I don't think he sort of faked it, got up to 3 in the world, and then you're like, how is he 3 again? I don't think he's that guy.
No, he's consistently ascending.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what you want.
Until he proves us wrong.
Right.
So far. And you can lose bad matches when you're this young and you don't have the experience. But Yeah. So anyway,
well, yeah. If he were, I think if those guys,
once again, women's tennis, we forgot. We're the worst.
If those strong up and comers, male or female, lose to a veteran, someone in their 20s, like 20s ranking, I don't think we care about those. It's when they lose to somebody who's 65th in the world in a slam, that's when we get annoyed, because it's like you're supposed to be up and coming and you can't beat Cole Schreiber.
Or if they get murdered by, if it's 2-0-1.
Like if Millman beats Zverev, I'm sorry, that I was about to use language I've never used on this podcast. I was about to say that's freaking pitiful if Zverev loses to Millman in a Grand Slam. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But nobody would be surprised, or they shouldn't be.
Right.
Millman's probably not top 50, and he would beat the number 3 player in the world, which is what I'm predicting.
By the way, I think I might be one of the few people that hold this opinion, but I am fond of Jim Courier as a commentator.
I like Jim Courier. There's not
as a commentator.
Right.
I don't know him personally.
The only one I don't like.
I've met him actually.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Did I meet him? I was with you, but I don't think I met him. You stuffed me off in the corner or something.
I was hiding you.
Even though we look alike.
I do both voices on the podcast, Mr. Courier. It's not.
But the only one I really don't like and is just Martina, just because she can't control her ego while she's broadcasting. It's like that's the only problem I have with her. I'm fine with her analysis and stuff like that, but I can just tell that she expects better from every player on the tour. They even said something like Taylor Townsend. They said Taylor Townsend said you were her idol growing up, and you could tell Martina was like, oh, well, she's not doing what she's not in my league or anything. It was like, sort of like she didn't say, oh, that's so cool, or that's really great. It was just like, oh yeah, she didn't even react. It's like I just think she doesn't care at all.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so outside of predictions, tell me how you want the men's and women's draws to end.
Oh, well, for the women's, I want it to come down to hopefully at least 2 of the top 4 seeds are still there in the semis. That just makes it interesting. Serena would be interesting just to see if she can, kind of like a Tiger Woods story. Can she come back? So I'd like to see her there, even though she's not my favorite. For the men, I can't say Djokovic versus Nadal because I'm just so over that.
Well, based on what we have, what our options are, that is obviously the all things will be right with tennis if that happened, based on what we have going on here, with Federer playing one of them in a tight semi.
I think I would like to see a Tsitsipas final. Because that would prove he's still up and coming, whether he wins it or not, and he's going to carry that momentum.
Even a 5-setter, in the semis would be awesome if he lost.
Right,
it's like take another step. Because
Team had that incredible 5-setter with Nadal, and then flamed out early in the Australian. That's the thing. And Tsitsipas
is still on the rise, I hope. So I expect a Djokovic-Nadal final with a Djokovic win. And I might dare say it's going to be an easy win by the time they get that many rounds in. Go ahead.
I was going to say, a lot of people think that Djokovic has the mental edge over Nadal, and I don't think that changed in their last match because it was so obvious why he lost.
Right.
I don't think Nadal could have really gained any confidence from that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that he lost 3 matches. They said it's the most matches he's lost on clay in 4 years, in 1 year. So he can't be that confident, I don't think.
Maybe. I think it's all his body. I think that's it.
Well, I think that's, contributes to his confidence.
But anyway, so that's I think what would make the most sense in terms of, they're the best, 2 of the best 3 players in the world. And I agree that I'd like to see a Tsitsipas in a lose in a tight final or win in a tight final. Either way, would give me some satisfaction in regards to the men's draw.
Well, if he won a final against Nadal, that would be incredible.
Oh, that would be. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Of course, I didn't say, but Osaka versus Serena would obviously be amazing in the semis or finals. Not sure where they meet up in the draw.
In the semis.
Yeah, so that would be interesting.
Yeah. I think that would be good. I think that would be fun, and this is
with Carlos Ramos as the umpire.
This is Serena's home court, so to speak, because she speaks French and everything.
Yeah, there you go.
So she would be fine with that. But
do you see any chance Serena wins this tournament?
how do you pick against her?
That's the problem. Because every match she plays, she's probably the favorite, except for maybe against Osaka.
Right, but it's like, but she's not a favorite to win kind of thing.
No, not
it's
at
like,
all.
Yeah. I say no, she does not win it. And actually, my ideal final wouldn't have her winning it. I would like to see Osaka be in a semi.
Yeah.
And actually, she would play Serena in the quarters.
Oh, wow.
No, in the quarters.
Yeah, so that would be a blockbuster.
Yeah, I'd like to see Sloane get deep. And then anyone else. I'd really like to see Wozniacki. No, I'm kidding. She's already out.
Kvitova.
But yeah, so there's about 19 different combinations with, in
That's
the
what I mean. You
semis
can't lose with the women's.
that would, well, you could. I mean, all hell could break loose.
Right.
But yeah, ultimately, there's probably about 19 different combinations in the semis that would make me happy. I'd like to see potentially Barty take another step forward, kind of like the Tsitsipas
Yeah, she's kind of like the female version of him.
We're talking about keep rising and keep getting better. And all these matches give her experience, give her confidence. And so I'd like to see that as well. And of course, any Americans whatsoever would be wonderful. We need all we can get.
Well, and I was listening to a radio show today, and they were saying how college football is better when, Miami's good and UT is good. I feel like tennis is tennis is better when there's a really top Australian player, there's a really top American player, there's really top Spanish player. It's like a French player. I feel like those are the countries that
The
drive tennis
powerhouses, so to speak,
right,
over time. Yeah,
and so I think that's why part of the reason we root for people like Barty, because we want there to be some connection to all those people.
Not Canada. I'm sick of Canada having good players. This is ridiculous.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
They won't have any this one unless Andreescu makes a run.
Eugenie's in it.
She did win, I heard.
No, she didn't play yet.
Oh, she hadn't played yet?
No.
Well, that's probably why. That's a win for her.
That's a win for her. It's not over
She's
yet.
still in on day 3.
Day 3. I made it to day 3, which is still the first round.
Right. Normally that would be a win, but not in this tournament.
All right, so now mixed doubles. So I think...
You've been analyzing that draw. I'm sure it's not even up.
I don't even know
yet.
who these
I don't
people
think it's
are.
Oh, it is up.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know who these people are. What is it, an 8 draw? What are we doing
without
here?
Hingis, there's no interest
That's
whatsoever.
all I care about. That's all I care about. I don't even know who these people are. I mean, maybe, let me see if there's any young Americans in here trying to make some money. Rajiv Ram.
Is there a young and up-and-comer?
Yeah.
You think the only reason they keep those is, 1, to sell tickets, and 2, to get those doubles players a little extra cash?
Benoit Paire doing what he does, playing dubs, that beard.
I just can't think of why they would keep that.
I don't know.
It's got to be just so they can say, oh, you bought tickets for the mixed doubles semifinal and this. And because you're not...
Nobody cares.
The style of play is not fun. The name recognition is not there.
That's true.
So I don't know what is the appeal. What is supposed to be the appeal?
I don't know. Exhibition-y maybe, like there's more matches to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, but the rest of the doubles I don't care about either. I don't care about Dennis Kudla and Stevie Johnson. Am I really cheering for America there?
But at least when you get to the end of that, it's some of the top doubles teams in the world. When you get to the mix, it's just like 4 random players.
Here's what they need to do with doubles, because obviously they don't care at all about it.
Yeah.
They need to have every player put up their own money.
That's what you want to take more money away from tennis players.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, all right.
I thought you were going to say every player that loses in the first week, their name goes into the doubles draw for the second week.
Now I think you've said that before.
And if you skip, you don't play in the next slam.
Yeah, I like that idea.
God, that would suck for Djokovic loses first round. He's got to wait 6 days to go play doubles.
Oh, Lordy. All right, so what do we got here? Glad to have you back.
Yeah, so hopefully it will be a regular occurrence. Not for you, but for everybody else.
Yeah, I don't know about... I was glad to have you back. I don't know if I'm glad
This is really a cameo.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm glad to
guest host.
Keep you. I don't know if the fans are going to be glad to have you back. I'm sure that's probably true, but no, it is good to have you back. There's nothing more miserable than talking to yourself. Oh, yeah, there is one thing more miserable than just talking to yourself on a podcast for an hour. having to listen to somebody talk to themselves on a podcast for an hour. So I apologize to all the fans out there for the past 3 weeks, except for the 8-minute podcast, which is fantastic. I'm so proud of that.
It was like a commercial. It was perfect.
It was perfect. And so anyway,
I can't stay away now that the French is going. We'll have to come back and talk about it mid tournament.
Yeah, so we're both out next week. No, I'm kidding. I'm out. It's about time you do.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna be sick again, I think.
So anyway, all right. So obviously no corner because you've been laid up for 3 weeks.
I've been in a corner for 3 weeks.
Yes, but we're glad to have you back. I think the fans are glad to have you back. Call in if you are. Tweet. You can't tweet at him. He doesn't have a Twitter.
No. All the time off I had, I still wasn't able to create one of those.
I got to get your wife to make a Twitter up for you.
You had something I was supposed to do. I was supposed to make a Twitter if something happened, but of course that was so long ago I can't remember what it was.
Oh yeah, what was that? Oh well. All right. I think that's it. No corner.
Nope.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to come back in a week and really get into the French Open draw because some matches will be finished, and we'll see if any of our want-tos have come true. I hope they have. Otherwise, I'm just going to cancel the podcast and throw a TV in the garbage. Men's tennis sucks.
Right.
But college tennis does not. But that's finally over, so I hope you get to see that. So anyway, I'm rambling. All right. Well, that's it. Until next time, thanks for joining the revolution.
Bye, guys.
Guess who's back? Corey's back.